This week, we go from 10 to 9 to 2 to 2012 to 574. I am your host, Jacques Slade, and this is the weekly sneaker review.
My kick's on fire.
Let's start things off nice and hot right out of the gate. Here we see the Air Jordan 10 Retro Chicago in some detail shots courtesy of RMK. The model was first spotted a couple months ago, where we learned that 1, it'll be dropping in January, and 2, that it'll be priced right around $150. There is no doubt that the red, black, and white colorway on this sneaker is pretty hard to deny. You just need to make sure that you don't spend on your money on Christmas or on those after Christmas sales. Let's move on to number 4. Just as the GR version of the LeBron 9 hit retail spots last week, the model also hit Nike ID. This is pretty new since the LeBron just came out and it's already available on Nike ID. This time though, as opposed to Nike just giving us screenshots of the sneaker, they actually went a step further and made some real life samples of the shoe. Personally, I think this is a very good step, and Nike should do this all the time. I know they can't do all colorway options, but doing a sample like these, like you see here with these 4, it gives you a real life example of what the shoe will actually look like when you design it on Nike ID. I absolutely love that Nike did this, and it really gives us a perspective, those that want to design our own shoes, a good perspective of what the shoe will actually look like in real life. For those of you that don't want to have LeBrons that look like everybody else's, make sure you head over to Nike ID and you can design yourself a pair right now for right around $200. New Balance touches on a bit of American folklore with the New Balance 574 Babe the Blue Ox. For those that don't know, Babe the Blue Ox is the trusted companion of Paul Bunyan. And Paul Bunyan, of course, is the lumberjack from American folklore. The model, as you can see here, features blue suede on the upper and mixes it with some gray leather, and they also have American tails imprinted on the insole, an obvious inspiration from the American tails. Hopefully, this is an American Tails series and they'll do more characters from American folklore, but who knows, because as of right now, there's very little information about this shoe or when it's dropping, or if New Balance is doing a series, or if this is just a one-off. Either way, I will let you know as soon as I find out, because I'm definitely interested in getting my hands on a pair of these. Last week, Adidas revealed 2 new colorways of the Adizero Rose 2 that are actually polar opposites of each other. The first model has been dubbed the triple black and is basically all black with the reinforced outsole for those who basically like to play outside. The outsole has been, a new outsole for those who like to play outside. The second pair is called the Silver Lining, and it's actually mostly white, but it has silver highlights on the base and on the heel cup. You can look for both pairs to make their grand appearance on November 10th. This past weekend, Nike and Soul Collector held their Penny event in Los Angeles, and as a bonus, Gentry Humphrey pulled out some surprises for everyone by showing us some 2012 releases of Penny-related shoes. First, there were 2 versions of the Nike Zoom Rookie LWP, one in black and anthracite, and the other model in dynamic blue and wolf gray. Now, there were also 2 versions of the Nike Air Foamposite 1 of them in an electric green sort of colorway, and another one in like a golden yellow sort of colorway. And the highlight of the night were 2 Nike Air Foamposite Pro models, one the Galaxy All-Star, which is like a rainbow colored colorway, and my personal favorite, the red, black, and silver version. I just really like the color blocking on the red, black, and silver version. Now, all of these are set to drop in 2012 with the addition of the metallic red Foamposite, which is set to drop right around Valentine's Day. So that's our number 1 pick. 2012 is going to be like Foamposite heaven. This week I am skipping the personal picks because I want to get right to the question of the video, because I did a little something special this week. So for last week's question, the question was, what is the most underrated sneaker? Since I was out this weekend, I went to the King Poetic and Sneeds event out in Los Angeles since I didn't go to Vegas. And I decided that I was going to ask some of the sneakerheads in attendance there what was their most underrated sneaker since I had them there in public. And I got some pretty good answers that I think are going to kind of shock you guys from some of the most respected, I would say, some of the more well-respected sneakerheads in Los Angeles. First one up is from Shoe Wolf.
I'm going to say, to me, the Air Revolution. It's an old school sneaker. People don't talk about it that much anymore. It's a history-making piece. You can find the bottom of that sneaker on the bottom of a Jordan 3. Just several reasons. The colorways, the Yeezy-esque build to it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that they looked at when they made a shoe like the Yeezy. They looked at something like that. So to me, Air Revolution, man.
Now, see there? I don't think many of you guys thought about that one. The Nike Air Revolution. Coming up, number 2 is Mr. Rob Santini.
Man, being a California kid, a big-time Laker fan, Kobe all day, I'd have to say the Little Dez Big Highs. Everyone slept on them. They had the whole congrats Kobe MVP and the Little Dez insignia on the back of the shoe. And people slept on them, man, but I think one of the most underrated shoes, Little Dez's Big High, Nike.
Now, I don't even think any of you guys are from LA, so most of you guys probably don't even know about the Lil Dez Big High, but you should have definitely put that one as one of your most underrated sneakers. Next up is Sneaker 4 Eyes.
Most underrated sneakers got to be that OG Carmelo Anthony, that baby blue and white, that 1.5 Jordan. I think it's sweet. It feels good, it's comfortable, you can even play with it. And I think that's the most underrated sneaker.
Shout out to Sneaker 4 Eyes. I actually mentioned to a couple people that you picked the Mellow 1.5, and a lot of people were like, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Next up is Afro Kicks.
I want to say the Trainer SC2, Bo Jackson's. Like I work in retail, and we had both OG colorways, Quick Strike, and in my opinion, it was going to sell out in the first 15 minutes. And it actually took me a month and a half. So I want to say those were very underrated. I jumped on it right away. I think the shoe is dope. I think it's comfortable. It look good with shorts. It look good with jeans. I just think they're dope. But I think people shouldn't sleep on it.
Now that's the man that knows his sneaker history right there. Shout out to Afro Kicks. Next up is Sneeds from Sneeds by Ree. I'm sure you guys have already read his comics, so check out his most underrated sneaker.
I'd say for sneakerheads, it's probably the Puma Suede. I think everybody's so caught up in the retro Jordans and whatnot, they forget about the classics. So I think the Puma Suede.
Shout out to Sneeds. If you aren't following his comic, make sure you are. I'll put a link to his blog down in the description. And the next one up is my boy Nick. This is my boy Nick, aka Sacktown SXSI from Twitter. And here is his most underrated sneaker.
I'm gonna have to go with the Military 4. The Jordans, I mean, like, they were hot when they came back the first time, but they kind of just fell off the radar for everybody. So that's definitely the most underrated sneaker of all time. It's one of the greatest.
Again, a man that knows his sneaker history. Shout out to Sacktown XSI. Next up is one of the hosts of the event, Mr. King Poetic 01.
And honestly, I'm gonna take you guys back, probably 90s or a little bit mid-90s. Gary Payton's, any Gary Payton sneaker. Trust me, a lot of people slept on that sneaker just because of what it represented and it looked the way it looked. Some people didn't understand where Nike was headed with it, but I think any Gary Payton is underrated.
Again, like that's really why, you know, one of the best parts of my job is that I get to talk to people and get to meet a lot of great people, and King Poetic 01 is really a good dude, and I love that he knows his sneaker history like that. And up last but not least, one of the best sneakerheads that I know. I really love this dude. He's cool as hell, Mr. Franelations.
Underrated sneaker. You know, me personally, I like the Jordan 2. I know it doesn't get too much love, but I think it's a really nice shoe, really well made, so I think I'm gonna have to go with the Jordan 2.
Shout out to Fran. Bet you guys didn't even think about that. Again, Fran is on top of his game. I want to give a shout out to everybody that participated. Thank you guys. I know some of you guys didn't want to be on video, so I thank you for making an exception for me. Now, for this week's question of the video, the question was submitted by, I hope I'm saying this right, MATTAPAN 617, Matt Apan 617, and his question is, if you had to pack up and leave, you're going to a deserted island, and they're like, yo, you can only take one pair of shoes. That's it. Just one. That's in your collection, in your closet. Pack a bag right now. Let's go. which pair of shoes would you take? Let me know down in the comments, and make sure you leave a question for next week, and I may pick your question for next week. Well, that is the end of the weekly review. If you haven't subscribed to the weekly review and this is your first time watching it, make sure you click that button up there. We definitely appreciate it. If you want to like, make sure you like it and comment and all that good stuff like that. If Twitter and Facebook is your thing, then that information is also down in the description, so you can contact me or you can contact Kicks on Fire. I am your host, Jacques Slade. This is the weekly review, and I will see you next week. Peace. Fine. Seen here in black, red, and white, the model definitely takes some design, or should I say colorway cues, from the Scarface poster. Now these will be available starting November 4th for $170. You cockroaches. That was bad, wasn't it?